Okay, where are we going to start as far as these Giants defensive line players and the thoughts that they might be traded? Okay, let's start with the ridiculous and then move on to the near ridiculous. Number one, the Giants will trade or look to trade Dexter Lawrence. False, ridiculous, not true. They are not in the business of giving away their best players or their better players when they have no one to replace them with. Yes, I know Dexter Lawrence is coming off a bad year for him. Yes, I know Dexter Lawrence has 2 years remaining on his contract, the original 4-year deal for $87.5 million. And that, by some estimates, Dexter Lawrence might now be underpaid after he got a market value contract a few years ago. Maybe Dexter Lawrence isn't happy about that. First of all, Dexter Lawrence has no leverage. He's not coming off a great year. 2 years ago, he was one of the best, if not the best, defensive lineman in the league. He had 9 sacks 2 years ago. That was outrageous for an interior defensive lineman. Joe Shane said here in Indianapolis at the scouting combine that his elbow might not have been 100% most of the year, but he tried to play through it. Kudos to Dexter Lawrence if that is indeed the case. But they are not going to trade him. I don't think Dexter Lawrence is incredibly disgruntled and, he wants out. Yes, the losing has been hard on Dexter Lawrence. I get it. It's understandable. It should be hard on him. He did not always react great after games with the media and things like that. Okay, I get that too. He's not a natural leader and a natural spokesman for those kind of things after a tough loss, week after week after week. But John Harbaugh has no interest in trading him. They're not going to trade him, and that's all there is to it. They want to get better on defense, not worse. As far as Kayvon Thibodeaux, okay, that one at least I can entertain in some way, shape, or form. He is not coming off a great year. He only played in 10 games last year. The year before, he only played in 12 games. His best season was 2023 when he had played, lo and behold, he started all 17 games and had 11 and a half sacks. That is what the best we've seen of Kayvon Thibodeaux so far. Kayvon has had injury issues. That is a concern, and he is signed for the 1-year, fifth-year option of $14.75 million. That's what he will count on the salary cap this year. That's not ideal, but it's also not terrible for a starting caliber defensive end outside linebacker. Look, the Giants have Abdul Carter, they have Brian Burns, and they have Kayvon Thibodeaux. That is a strength. That is something they can build their defense around. When you look at the Giants, you can say, what do they do well? They should have 3 edge rushers who can all be on the field, sometimes at the same time, sometimes in a rotation, and they will be better than most teams' edge rushers. There's no question about that. That is how the Giants basically won a Super Bowl in Super Bowl 42 after the 2007 season with Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora and Justin Tuck. And that is basically how they won a Super Bowl 4 years later after the 2011 season, Super Bowl 46, with Umenyiora, Tuck, and Jason Pierre-Paul. There's no reason for that formula to not be used this year. Now, Kayvon Thibodeaux is signed for 1 year, like we said. And will he be back with the team next year? I would say the odds are no. I wrote about that in Post Sports Plus this past week at the New York Post, that if he has a great year, he will go into free agency and command a lot of money, and the Giants probably won't pay that, already having Brian Burns and having probably at that point, hopefully, they hope to re-sign Abdul Carter for big money. If he has a bad year, there's no reason to bring him back. I mean, he has an average year. Maybe he comes back, but the odds are maybe he doesn't. So I get it. This could be Kayvon's last year with the Giants, so why not try to trade him? Well, they can look. Joe Shane, the general manager, said last year at the trade deadline, more teams called about Kayvon than any other player. That makes sense. They got no kind of deal that they thought was interesting, so they didn't take it. I believe this year, and I've been told that unless there is a knock you out of the park offer for Kayvon Thibodeaux, he's not going to be dealt. I don't think John Harbaugh wants to get rid of him. I think John Harbaugh wants to use that 3-headed monster as edge rushers to benefit the defense, not to hurt the defense. Sure, they would like to get more draft picks. Yes, they don't have a 3rd-round pick this year. They traded that for Jackson Dart. They would do that again in a minute. So if they could get a great draft pick back for Kayvon Thibodeaux, I think they would do that. What is a great draft pick? Maybe a 2nd-round pick, a 1st-round pick. I don't think they're getting that. I don't think they're getting a 3rd-round pick. So anything other than that, I think Kayvon Thibodeaux stays on the team. He'll be highly motivated. He'll be playing for a contract. He'll be playing for a new coach and a new defensive coordinator. So I think in 2026, Dexter Lawrence will be there, and I'm pretty sure Kayvon Thibodeaux will be there as well.